everybody, welcome to the Mixercist.
Welcome, guys. What's going on, EB?
Hanging out. It's the holidays and, of course, a lot of movie watching, TV watching, horror movie watching, a little bit Christmas watching, but mostly horror.
That's it.
Gearing up for this episode.
Nothing says giving like horror, like gore and guts and terror and suspense. And we thought we'd do something different this year. We thought, we haven't been doing a lot of videos lately, but this is the kind of video that's easy for us to do. No real prep. We just kind of jump on and talk about what we think. And so for those of you who love the Mixercist and are willing to tolerate the lack of plug-in reviews, it's kind of like hanging out with some old buds, the kind of folks you'd maybe have a beer with and chill and just talk about stuff. So if you're looking for plug-in reviews, you're going to want to pass this one by. Don't go in the comments and say there's no plug-in reviews in this one, because we already know that. And that's on purpose. We're here just to share some of our, our recent viewing pleasures with you.
Yeah. The box, because now we split this up into two. Last night we put up a video called our top plugins for 2022. So if that's the case, that's probably the one you want. And now that there is a two videos, there will be. I'll be able to finally put that box wherever it goes, so you can click over to the other one, and we're going to go cross box on that, right? So one video will have the box to the other. This is the one about horror movies. So
that's right.
Horror movies and TV shows. There are a ton of them. Why is my name up on your? Because I hit something wrong there. That's proper now.
There we go.
Yeah, your name was up on my visual, but
now
I
saw it.
switched over to me. Now I can do my name. Okay. And then when that disappears, we're gonna go to you.
When they're green and red, that's pretty Christmassy.
Just so they are, and just so everybody knows who everyone is. So just so we know what we're dealing with here, right? Wouldn't want to have any kind of
misunderstandings.
Misunderstandings. That this is going to be in any way a sane, cogent show.
Nope.
It's going to feature a shit ton of horror movies. I'm going to get to them right now. Actually,
let's do it.
Here we go. Here's the list.
Someone needs a hobby. Look at that. Let's get into it. I did a lot of these just in the last few weeks. Yeah, let's get into it. We can go one by one. We can talk about our favorites, however we want to do it here. Let's get our lovelies on the screen here. Oh, that doesn't work at all. Okay, let's go here. There we go. That's what I meant to do. That looks nice. Look at that.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to go through them, or just talk about the year in general, what your perceptions are? And
well, I'll tell you what I think. For me personally, it was hard to find these, and you had a great idea. You're like, let's listen to the Fangoria podcast and see what they recommend as the top 10. So the two hosts were going back and forth. So you end up with about, I think, 15 or 16 distinct movies. And that started as a base for us to go exploring and check out some other resources. And I really needed that, because I'm not a television guy. I love reading books. I love working on music. I love socializing. I like working on my podcast, working on my business. But I don't spend a lot of time just sitting there flipping through movies. So I go with either the Fangoria ratings, or I'll go for, like on Shudder, they have user reviews. Generally speaking, even though some people are you're never going to make them happy. But if a show got less than 3 skulls, it's probably not worth watching. So I kind of have this fear of like spending 2 hours on a movie that sucks. So I wasn't watching any. And I thought you had such a great idea of checking out the Fango podcast. So a lot of our picks are based on some viewing recommendations that we got from there. It was a great year for horror. I like the stuff. I like how the slasher's making a bit of a comeback, but at the same time, there's a deep nod to some of the cool ultra-violent stuff that's happening in like Korean or Japanese horror.
Oh, yeah.
And love just it. The deep, like dark, disturbing themes, like Let's Go Black with this one. I kind of like that. I like some of the disturbing stuff that showed up in this year's films. What about you?
Same here. I in addition to that Fangoria podcast, I also just went over to good old Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. And they have a page with their top 100 horror movies of 2020 so far. And I didn't watch all 100 of them, but I think I clocked in the top 25, 30.
Yeah. Looks like you came close. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, somebody might go, oh, well, don't you know that none of the good movies are going to be on that list? I'm into medieval hentai torture porn. So I won't have any of the good stuff on
That's
there.
Really specific. That's really specific.
But no, these are all ones that were rated very highly. They're all rated either in the top, pretty much they're mostly top 40, top 50 that we're talking about here. So mainstream horror in that sense of the word, it's not, we're not going to the depths of the iceberg or anything like that.
That's right.
But,
yeah. And I was at the what they call Frightmare in the Falls. So in Niagara Falls, Ontario,
cool.
Canada, they have the this big horror fest every year. It's kind of like a fan expo or whatever, but just for horror films. I'm sure your local town or city has one too. And when I went to an after party, like an after event type deal. I was just talking to some people, meeting some strangers and saying, what stuff did you like this year? And I got some recommendations that way too. So just a little deeper into the community this year, and just getting into some horror. Is this a good time to mention Deadly Grounds, or do you need to cue something up, or we'll talk about it later?
No, absolutely.
We'll do that?
We should, let's get you going on that. Let's do, how would this work? Let's just go right over to it. Let's just cut over.
Sure, I'll mention it while you're figuring out. I know Eric wants to show some
actually,
images
because you talked about the Frightmare in the Fall, so why don't we
Let's
cut
do
to
that
this first?
Yeah. So here's me and Amy
Look
Steele from Friday the 13th Part 2. She played Ginny, who was the heroine from that. This is going back to like 1981. So Amy,
wow.
If you think about it, the great thing about horror movies is that they can be exploitative at times. It's not uncommon that the lone survivor is a female character. So there's a lot of empowerment for women in a lot of these movies, or at least in that aspect of it. And, never mind all the nudity, but in general, there was one thing that came out of that movement as far back as the 80s. Like, you wouldn't have seen a Marvel adventure with a female heroine as frequently as you do, let's say, in horror films. So that was interesting. And what I found out about Amy is, it's like, I always ask these people when I meet them, what are you working on that you're excited about? What's coming up for you? And she's like, actually, I'm not in film anymore. I said, well, didn't know that. What are you doing? And she's a psychologist. She's like a licensed therapist somewhere down in the States.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So, which I think was part of her role, or part of her character's identity in the movie too. But, if you get a chance to go to these things, I love going to them. I've met so many cool people. But let's move on to Deadly Grounds. Are we ready to talk about that?
Yeah.
So Deadly Grounds Cafe is this little joint in Oshawa, Ontario, which is a town that I did most of my public school and high school in. And they just opened this little place. It's in a strip mall next to a cannabis shop. Like, it's very innocuous, but they have great coffee, number one. And number two, they got all these like secret rooms, and they sell all this merch, masks, toys, memorabilia, all kinds of great stuff. And so you can sit there. I'm like, do you mind if I just sit here and get some editing done today? I was doing a bit of mixing. They're like, no, help yourself, man. There's a couple tables, kick back, and you got all these dads coming in with their daughters, checking out all the zombie masks and all the horror movie photos. They're always playing a horror movie up on one of the big screens. Really cool people. So yeah, there's me in it's kind of like this little merch shop they got with all these masks hanging in the background there. And the owners are super nice people. I said, hey, we run this show called The Mixercist. We talk about audio. We talk about horror movies. Could we come and maybe shoot an episode here someday? And they're like, dude, totally. Let's talk. So if you happen to be in the Ontario region, if you're, GTA, Toronto based or something, or you're looking for a little road trip one of these days, I had no idea this place existed. And they were actually at the horror convention too, serving up coffee, and I just didn't put two and two together. Cool. So I'm super stoked that something like that's in my neighborhood. You saw
them twice in 1 week, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Different locations. There's somewhere Massacre. I see some Chucky there. You got the Evil Clown. We got
dude for Otis from House of a Thousand Corpses.
House of a Thousand Corpses. Amazing. Oh, well, there's some Jason.
Life-size Jason,
Killer.
Yeah.
You can actually have coffee with Jason. He talks to you, doesn't he?
He comes, he's just a statue. No, he's not going to wander over with his machete, scare the little girls. Little nod to
Billy Van. Yeah. Oh, God, and anybody who doesn't know about this, you got to check it out. It's the kitsch 70s, kind of for kids, not really for kids. Canadian, I don't know, it was CTV or CBC or
CHCH, Hamilton.
CHCH Hamilton. There we go. Yep. Such a good show. You can. They're on YouTube. You can find a few little snippets there. I won't spoil the fun.
Vincent Price was in it, which was not expecting. Yep.
He does the intro and the outro, right? Mm-hmm. The castle walls are growing dim.
That's right. Look it up. It's hilarious. It's so good.
Elvira, who followed me on Mastodon.
Nice.
Which is awesome. She went to Mastodon, and we caught her on the first day starting to post.
Very cool.
Silent Night. There's the Christmas spirit right there.
Oh, yes. We'll talk about that show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Some bobbleheads.
Anyway, go
VHS tapes.
Go on Instagram and find them. They're selling some VHS. There's some zombie blend coffee. Find them on Instagram.
Blend.
Deadly Grounds,
So
Deadly Grounds Canada. I think they are. Go give them some love and tell them the Mixercist sent you.
Absolutely, man. That is so cool.
Should we hit the movies?
Well, I wanted to do just another brief segue into what we were talking about on yesterday.
That's right.
About AI, right? Mm-hmm. And the one I used to use was called Dolly, and I just had some fun. Here was there's too many to choose from. I'm just going to show you some of the highlights. This is Michael Myers' State of the Union address.
Dude, that's perfect. I've never seen these. I've seen these for the first time, so I can't wait. Oh my God.
I started out with Michael Myers' TED Talk, but these came out a lot better, right?
It is creepy as shit.
Oh fuck yeah! This is called Crayon, like CRAIYON, which used to be Dolly. So Michael Myers' State of the Union. Some of them are better than others. Michael Myers at the gym. I tried Michael Myers Jazzercise. That didn't really yield anything results that led to the gym.
Don't cut yourself short. Oh yeah,
Kirk Hammett.
Oh my God.
There we go.
That's pretty awesome.
I typed in rock concert on fire, and I got like some really. There's some dudes actually on.
That dude is actually on fire. Oh my God! Look at this.
Great idea for artists, though. Like, if you're an artist, I can see why AI art is being like entered into competitions and it's winning sometimes.
Dude, to me, this is sheer entertainment. If like I like stuff like this that's kooky and macabre and grotesque and weird, that's not macabre. Oh yeah,
Elon Musk on Mars.
Elon Zombie.
Face on Mars.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger Wedding. This was another one that a little bit of a wedding album that I generated. Freddy Krueger Wedding. I don't know who that must be the bridesmaid in the middle. Or?
I don't know, but their faces look like they're sewn on.
It's fucking amazing, isn't it?
Yep.
It's kind of,
oh my God.
It's disturbing.
It is. It is.
This one's awesome. You can't see any faces.
No, I know.
That reminds me. I had, let's see if I can find it. Yep. Jack Nicholson, Jack Torrance's Greatest Hits LP.
See what I mean? This is like endless giggles. Oh my God.
I think that's pretty much the best of the best. Oh yeah, the Jason Voorhees delivery guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Endless fun there.
I just snorted. That's so funny. Okay, I'm assuming you want to get something out of this video, so maybe we'll talk about the hits. Jack Torrance.
Just get back to your list, fucko. I've been waiting for 10 minutes. I want to know what else was bollocks.
Yep.
All right. So we should run through them. I think this is great. There's a couple TV shows on here. Some of the stuff came out in 2021 in terms of it hit the festival circuit, but it didn't get released until... Which one, dude?
The Jack Torrance Greatest Hits LP. Okay, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna let you get back to work.
Oh my God.
Oof. Okay. All right. Go for it.
The Michael Myers TED Talk was another one. Michael Myers TED Talk. Jack Nicholson's Greatest.
Keep it to 7 minutes, Michael.
Yeah. There's some good Kirk Hammett ones. You saw the fire ones. Anyway, yeah, okay. So maybe we should post a link to some of those for our website or something.
You need to make those public. They should put them all on our Instagram. Like we'll do one a day.
Yeah, that's it. One a day, and it's like maybe a calendar. We could base a calendar around it.
There's going to be a comment. It's like, you two are the only people who think you're funny. Because that's probably
we knew that coming in here.
Yep, that's right.
Jack Nicholson's greatest.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, okay. This one you got to see too, because it didn't show too much of the Kirk Hammett. Just the face.
You see what he's going to look like in 10 years.
That is some true legato playing there.
It is. Okay.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, a lot of these, a few of these came out in 2021. They hit the festival circuit, but they've only seen their North American release this year, where they've recently come on Shudder or Netflix, for instance. So you'll have to pardon that if you say, I saw that last year. Let's just go through them all. American Horror Story, another great episode. I like it better probably than the last 2 or 3 that they've made. They've had a steadily declining viewership, but because of those first 3 seasons with Jessica Lange and the classic cast did so well that even though it does lose maybe about 10% every season, it still gets a lot of viewers. So they're still making them. This is good. I think they picked up some quality on this. It wasn't so keen on the double feature one that they did last time. But this one, it takes place in New York, early 80s. There's a lot of social commentary in there, particularly evolving around the AIDS crisis and that time period when it broke out, and just, cops acting like assholes and people acting like assholes to a community that, is already being stalked, basically terrorized in this series. So on that level, it's pretty interesting as well. Some great appearances from some of the newer classic cast, as it were. Next up, Wounded Fawn. What did you think about this one, dude?
I really liked this one. This was so great. I just had a great feel. It seemed a little low budget, maybe, but there was some really good tense moments. So I don't know if we need to go through the storyline necessarily. Is it the best way to go about it?
No, because I think we want to.
So, there's a moment there in the beginning of the movie. There are some moments where they're just introducing the tension, and it basically, there's these 2 people in a house, and there's something outside that's trying to let somebody inside know something, but they're obviously not of this earth, kind of not. They're a little on the supernatural side, ghosty side, let's say, and it's terrifying. Like, it's extremely suspenseful. And it's woven in with a storyline of, a date gone terribly wrong, the main character has a dangerous man in her life at this moment, and there's some supernatural elements. And anyway, so it builds and builds and builds and builds. And then the ending is just like, holy cow. So I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really crafty, well done. Sets were great. Everything was great. Just had a little bit of a low budget feel. What did you think?
Yeah, same here. It's everything you said. It's scary. It makes you think. That last scene is like, wow, that's probably out of the whole year, that's the one scene that's going to stick with me the longest out of all these movies.
Pretty dark.
I have some theories about that scene too, and what that scene kind of means, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's quite an artsy film, but in a good way. I don't usually tend to like the ones that are too Art Nouveau or whatever, but this one stuck with me. It's just the right level, right? Because
it was good. Easy to watch.
Kind of hallucinating kind of experience to it. And easy to watch, but it's plenty violent, plenty bloody, plenty suspenseful. Yeah, love it. Let's do next. Barbarian.
Ooh, that one I don't think I saw.
This is the one she buys a house or finds a house. No, she stays at a house, and they discover what's in the basement. That's all I'll give away. Really well done. Probably medium budget. Bill Skarsgård is awesome. Georgina Campbell, Justin Long.
It's a good cast.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much. Yeah, they've got some good makeup, some good special effects. This one's not about like all the blood and the kills. There are a couple of those. It's more about the mystery of like, what are we dealing with in the basement, and what does it all mean? There's a bit of a history to it. Pretty cool ending to characters, of course, that seem like the nice guy, but turn out to be the asshole at the end, and all that stuff. So well thought out. Like it. probably in my top 5. Black Phone.
That's good. Saw that in theater. I love Ethan Hawke and just about everything he does. He's a phenomenal artist. So the movie was a little unpredictable. Their previous effort, the director and Ethan worked together on Sinister, which was very suspenseful, very good. And I'm not sure this one's in my top list, but it's a good, if you're watching it on, let's say, a streaming service, definitely invest the hour and a half and watch it. It was well done.
Same. I totally enjoyed it. I thought his acting is always spectacular. And I actually, you mentioned we couldn't figure out what movie it was, and you mentioned we figured out it was Sinister. I went back and I watched Sinister too around the same time as this, and it's like, still got it, man. Worth watching for that alone, but the story itself is pretty grim and pretty cool. Yeah, love it. And again, I'm not sure if it's top either for me, but it was good. Here's one that's not top for me. It's interesting though. Centers around a bunch of young 20-somethings that sort of they play a game. Sort of there's a murderer, somebody's a murderer. Oh shit, who is it? It's one of us. That kind of deal. Really kind of cool twists and turns without giving anything away. Character studies and it's got a bit of that high school kind of vibe to it, freshman vibe, but that's I think who it's for, and that's who the characters are in this. So that said, it's an enjoyable movie. Wasn't a waste of time or anything. I didn't turn it off. I wanted to know what happened. In the end is satisfyingly interesting. You don't necessarily see it coming. Cabinet of Curiosities. Did you watch this one?
No.
Oh, it's the best thing on Netflix, I think, this year. So good. I think there's like 6 or 8 stories. They're each from a different director. Del Toro comes out and does the intro in the beginning, and it ranges from everything from like autopsies to aliens, diseases, murders, supernatural ghosts, graveyards. Fucking way cool. Definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. That seems to be something that most people can easily access. So
yeah. I will recommend that. I will.
Choose or Die.
Choose or Die. Didn't see this one either.
You did. You told me it was terrible, and I watched it, and I agree. I think this for me gets the worst movie of the year. For like, really? The worst movie where they obviously had a budget and spent a lot. And it's not the acting. I think they're great. I think she's great in it. I think that the story is just. There's the deadly video game, and you load up the video game, and it tells you to choose or die, and you have to do this thing, and of course we've seen that before. Like there was the. Truth or Dare movies. What was the one with Jeffrey Combs in it?
Would You Rather?
Would You Rather? That sort of thing. An earlier film called Funny Games, which actually kind of sick, right? So it has aspects of that. It has aspects of like the Truth or Dare thing. There's another one that I think I kind of remember seeing called Charge. I don't know. It kind of rings like that, and I didn't love this one, but I put it on there because it is well produced, and she is a great actor. The acting's really good in this, so okay. I think it's just the story that's the letdown here. Christmas, Bloody Christmas.
I didn't get to it. I promised I would get to it, and I didn't get around to watching it. Was it good? Because it's about a robot Santa, so I was again looking at it on Shudder, going, "Oh, should I?"
Robot Santa, yeah, basically.
It's
good? A slasher. I think it's good. It's highly stylized. It's shot in 16 millimeters, so that may or may not be your thing.
Right.
Some people would say, it took away from the movie. Other people say it makes the movie. There's a lot of references to rock and roll, 90s culture. The characters are quite hip in it, and they're on a Christmas Eve. They all work at the record store. They decide to hang out Christmas Eve, and that's when Robot Santa comes into the picture. Who apparently is recycled military-industrial complex parts that they just decided to turn into Santa Claus toys because they had extra inventory or something like that. But and then basically a violent slasher ensues, and it's pretty cool. It's just like mixing the Terminator with what's the one where the guy's running around in the Santa suit killing everyone? Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yep.
Or Bloody Night. One of those. Yeah, so it's like a mixture of the two, right?
Got it.
And good effects. I mean, I think they might have even looked better without the 16 millimeter, to be honest. But because that is really blown out. It's like you're thinking, is this a good copy of the movie? And is something wrong? But it's like, no, that's the way they wanted it to look. So, but cool soundtrack, by the way, too, on this one. really enjoyed it. Both the rock music and then also, I don't know if it was the Carpenter, John Carpenter and his son. I saw their name on one of these movies. I can't remember which one it was. And they've been doing, of course, the Halloween remakes and stuff, but they've also been outsourcing and doing some other films. Don't know if it's this one, though. I don't know. It'll come to me. I should just move on. Do the next one. Ooh, Crimes of the Future, David Cronenberg.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Body horror.
Was it good?
Body horror, body modifications, criminalization of everything, crazy dude, crazy dude's partner, crazy third wheel, played by Kristen Stewart. Fucking so good. Acted so well. Viggo Mortensen's like, he's starting to get up there, and you could tell, right? He's playing an older man in this, but he's kind of been through the mill. David Cronenberg, so you know you're going to get some awesome graphic effects and a lot of weird
for sure.
body meets other kind of life form things, nothing certain. Yeah, really good. Artsy, but again in a good way, and plenty grotesque. Some people apparently walked out of the theater during this because they were upset by some of the scenes. Yeah.
Well, now I
didn't find that, but now I got to check it out. Netflix.
Dahmer.
Bio story. I think I picked this just because it's got Evan Peters plays the lead, and you'll know him from American Horror Story, and so good. He totally changed his character again for this. It's totally believable. A highly disturbing tale based on the real life disturbing events. Tom breaks behind the eyes. Did you see this one?
No.
Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. They spend the night in the haunted house, and then there's an abrupt scene the scene stays the same, but there's an abrupt story shift. It's like to go back into the past or something for the second half of the movie. Pretty cool, pretty artsy. I don't think it's as good as, say, like Wounded Fawn in terms of the way they handled all that. But I did put it in there because I thought that there were some good aspects of the film that really make you think in terms of like, what does the ending mean? How did they end up in this house? It's just kind of like an existential dread to it all, like that they're going to be stuck in there forever. But that's not just you. That's just not them. That's me. That's this whole life. Like you're thinking by the end of it, right? It's like, I'm never getting out of here, am I? So because it was able to do that, I put it on the list. Deadstream. Live streamer meets ghost hunter meets a little bit of comedy meets Blair Witch. I think if you like those kinds of found footage films, if those are your thing, you're going to like this movie. This is actually one of the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes, and
strange.
I was surprised. I enjoyed it. I watched it through. It wasn't a waste of time. Put it on here though, again because I'm going off some of the ratings on the list from Rotten Tomatoes as well. Devil in Ohio is pretty awesome. It's a Netflix series. This girl from the country, she escapes what seems to be some kind of weird community / cult. She's found by what's her name? She played Bones, Emily Descharnay or Chanel or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Who hasn't aged a day like since the early 2000s. It's pretty remarkable. And really good story, a lot of craziness, and crazy culty kind of sacrifice, and crazy cult members going around town doing nefarious deeds. So I liked it. It was a good one. Firestarter, watched that. This was like one of the last ones I watched on my list. So went through it. These reboots / remakes, prequels, sequels, and stuff. This one I think is really well done. Pretty much you're getting what you think you're going to get. I didn't see any real surprises there. I think some of the same characters from the original 80s movie are in it now, older and wiser. Really good, though. I'm trying to figure out if this is the one that John Carpenter had to do with the music. I know there's a couple there that he's actually on, but I don't have that info in front of me. Gatlopp, one of Kirk Hammett's top movies. Oh, yeah. Of the year. It's fun, very lighthearted. It's a board game, but it's a board game that's like murderous and supernatural, and they all get trapped in it, and they find out things they didn't know about each other, and certainly things they didn't know about the game. Right. And the stakes become higher and higher as the game goes on. It's a comedy. It's kind of a stoner LA comedy in a lot of ways. Okay. Mixes kind of like the, I don't know, showbiz yuppie versus like loser. What did I even try? Next meets wannabe celebrity. Meets it's pretty cool. And they all want to party. They were all friends. Like that's the story. They were all friends like 10 years ago. Hadn't seen each other. And now, for whatever reason, they're all they get together, they hang out for the night, they find this game, or play this game, and then it starts getting into their past. And well, why did she do that again? And what? I didn't know that. And then they gotta play the game, and more gets revealed. So
got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, you told me about this one.
This was about a guy who goes into a rest stop on the side of the highway, and he's obviously got a troubled past, a dark past somehow. There's something that he's done that he's trying to run away from. So he pulls into a rest stop and goes into the washroom and all of a sudden starts talking to some kind of what turns out to be a god in the stall next to him. Interesting thing is the character, the god, is voiced by the guy who plays, he's in everything. What's his name? I had his name before. Something Simmons, I think. J.K. Simmons. Anyway, I can't remember if that's, I'm probably screwing up his name. Familiar. He's the guy who played who runs the Daily Bugle or whatever it is in Spider-Man. What's the name of the newspaper that Peter Parker shoots photos
Daily
for?
Planet? No, that's Superman.
Doesn't matter. Point is, the guy with the sideburns, something Mr. Jameson, maybe. Right. I can't remember if that's the character's name. Guy who plays him in the reboot with Tobey Maguire, okay? And he plays in the future ones too. Character actor, you've seen him in a million things. He's in it, and his voice is indistinguishable. So the minute you're watching, you're like, is that guy? It is that guy. Anyway, it ends up being a little much. As you get to the end is a little bit like, what? It's kind of like a gotta save the world kind of situation, but the conversation as it evolves and develops and the guy realizes he's trapped in that bathroom and he can't get out, and then there's a challenge that he has to meet. There's like an offering that he has to make, and it's pretty gory. So it's fun. It's different than something that you would normally see. It has elements of Saw, like two guys locked in a room together with a little bit of an inescapable challenge. Did you end up watching it?
I saw it. I didn't get to see the whole thing. So.
Okay.
It is J.K. Simmons. It says right there.
Thank you.
I saw the kind of premise, and I saw what it sounded like he was talking to someone in the next stall.
Yeah, it's pretty much it.
Maybe this isn't right though. This person or whatever this is in the other stall is not going to be normal.
Yeah. So it's a little over the top a couple times, but it's definitely worth a watch. Like at no point did I'm like, oh, I think I'll put this down. It was a good, compelling movement from beginning to the end, and I'm glad I watched it. So I enjoyed it. Definitely this one's on my list.
Definitely going to pick up on that one too, because where it was going now starts to make a lot more sense. Love it. Let's see. Halloween Ends.
Yeah, I didn't catch this one. I'm not a big sequel guy anymore, but what did you think of it?
I saw it. It's good. Is it memorable? I don't know. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, always going to remember her role in it. She's in this one too. Michael Myers is still alive. Again, it's like so many years later, and it's the town, and that he rampaged, and then there's new characters, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but you know how these movies usually tend to go, and this one doesn't really break with that tradition. Yeah. It's good, really well done. Good. The effects are awesome. There's plenty of kills, lots of shit that blows up, lots of surprises, great soundtrack. Yeah, so I mean, you get what you definitely get what you paid for in this one, what it says on the box. So yeah, I think I'm giving it the thumbs up. Hellbender.
Oh, this was so good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I watched it. Fuck yeah.
Very different. So originality-wise, I think this one definitely scored some points. And, there's like a spiritual, almost witchcraft thing happening in it. And the ending is very good all the way through. It's not like a horrific film, but there's definitely some suspense that builds and builds and fades and it starts off with a bang.
Jumping out of my seat. There's a couple parts where I went, whoa, holy shit. Yeah. But not terribly gory. It's not a slasher movie, to be certain. But I really enjoyed this. I think you won't be sorry for watching this. It's really well done. This one, by the way, is the highest rated right now on Rotten Tomatoes. This is the number one.
Makes sense. Very original.
Movie of the year. There's a lot to love about this. It's very rural as well. There's a mother and a daughter. It's kind of a coming-of-age film, kind of a supernatural, kind of a bit of a thriller. You don't know where things are going. There's this thread of music throughout the whole thing. They play in this band together, and that's part of the plot. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, really cool, really well done. I see why it's on the
Me too.
top of the list there. Moving on, Hellraiser, the reboot.
What'd you think?
It's not really a remake. It's a new story, a new part in the storyline. I like it. I love the way they handled the box. The box now does things that the box didn't used to be able to do before. Really cool with new effects and stuff. They've got a whole new fleet of Cenobites, which are kind of like they're more. Some seem to be obviously a female form, or some are more kind of androgynous or stuff. So they've become, I think, more inclusive that way in terms of these new characters. The lead character is this awesome actor. I can't remember her name, but I've seen her in some stuff. She's awesome. The story's pretty good. There's one what I think this is maybe missing, because it's got all the elements. It's got the Cenobites, it's got the box, it's got that you have to make a sacrifice and stuff. But there's just a certain sleaze factor that's missing from this. Like if you remember the original Hellraiser, and
there's a greasy feel to it.
Yeah, it's that relationship between the guy's ex-girlfriend that he brings back from the dead. And it's just kind of sleazy or whatever. But this one, that's been kind of stripped out of it. Right?
Interesting. Is there a Pinhead?
It's no longer about like there's a new Pinhead, right? New character playing Pinhead, and so it's the other one had like pleasure versus pain, and it's like it's it's the same thing, or that you might enjoy the pain just as much as you do the pleasure or whatever. And this one is just kind of like, no, it's just all pain and it's all scary. All right, so that's just a little subtlety there that I think that they may have consciously like not wanted to go there. So that's a little bit of a letdown, but everything else about it's fucking great story, great effects, really well done. It's cool kills, cool jump scares, really good locations. The characters, there's this one kind of character is the last guy that had the box, and he kind of makes appearances throughout the film, and it's really cool. And so I'm still giving it a thumbs up. House of Darkness. This is just a neat little tight, almost like a play by Neil LaBute. 4 characters, Kate Bosworth and Justin Long are the main characters. Starts out, they're in the driveway of what appears to be her house, which is a substantial kind of mansion. And it's already becoming obvious that she must be like some kind of either in a cult or like a vampire or something, right? Like that's sort of hinted at so early on in the film. You don't have to worry about giving that part away. It's just about the interplay. They get into the house and then they realize that she's not there alone. There's the 2 sisters living there too, and shit just goes crazy for an hour, and it's delicious. Just really fun film, pretty light. It's not a huge amount of blood or anything. It doesn't really get all sick or anything. It's just like this nice little interplay that's light, and you kind of know what's going to happen. So when it finally does, you're like, yeah, right on. Dug that one, man. Okay. So David Cronenberg made 2 films this year. Only he didn't direct this. He wasn't involved with this one. This film's very, very Cronenberg. Fucking awesome film. Stars what's her name? Jessie Buckley, who is on a bunch of very popular TV shows in the UK. Also started a musical career. Did at least one album, but I'm thinking more, with the guy Butler, the guy from the band Suede. And just some of that music is just stunning. She's stunning in this film. This film is shot so beautifully. The effects, the atmosphere is it's a gorgeous film. It's a little bit hard to figure out what's going on, and that's why I keep going. And then there's the body effects, which they're just right out of the Cronenberg playbook. So I don't want to sell the movie short by saying, oh, it's just a Cronenberg ripoff, because it's not that. But it's so heavily inspired that I find it hard not to mention Cronenberg when I mention this film. That's all.
Cool.
It's awesome.
Sounds
awesome
good.
Film. Nope.
Oh,
watch that
yeah.
one?
You know, I haven't gotten around to it yet, but everyone loves this guy, Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how was it?
I think it's good. Everything Jordan Peele does or is involved with is worthy of some kind of discussion. It's always an event with him. Even if he's like just producing or assisting in other ways, like he was involved with the Black Klansman. That's like one of the best films I've seen in a long time. And there was that Candyman remake. Of course, I think the one that is just always going to be historical is Get Out.
Yeah,
that was kind of the breakthrough one. That's still does this live up to Get Out? It lives up to the legacy. I don't think it's a better film. I think it's a very good film. And I really enjoyed it. I think there's these weird clouds in the beginning, and look at that cloud in the sky. I noticed it hasn't moved in 2 weeks, and then it's about what's in the clouds, and you kind of can see where it's going. You can kind of guess. There is a great subtext in here about race and one of the actors who was like the first black actor in Hollywood and stuff like that, which is that's cool. That's very interesting. And while we're thinking about the lead characters, really good, played really well. Plenty of blood and guts and people getting torn apart and things getting whipped around and thrown. Yeah, a lot of destruction. So on that level, that doesn't disappoint. They released it in IMAX first, so I'm thinking about what some of these scenes might have been like in IMAX, and I'm like, yeah. That's kind of why it looks the way it does. You get the grand scope of the mountains, huge spaces, and when shit goes wrong, it's like big things getting destroyed. So yeah, thumbs up. It is. I still think it is one of the best films of the year, but I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the best thing he's ever done. That's all I'm saying about that. Orphan First Kill. This is the prequel to Orphan, but you really should still watch Orphan first, because that was released first. Pretty cool. More craziness to the story. I don't want to give anything away, because when you find out what it's really about, it's like it's fucking nuts. And it's like that turns out to be that reveal is really big in the first film. So if you watch this, you kind of blow the reveal that you'll blow the first film.
Got it. Okay, so watch them in order.
So. Yeah, watch them in order. It's great. Love it. Julia Stiles in this one. She's fantastic. Isabel Fuhrman plays the orphan. Fucking great. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Piggy. I
didn't get to this one.
Okay. It's what you would call a rural horror. It's great. This girl that's picked on a lot in school who... it just starts getting mad at all the other kids in the class and stuff, and then one day something happens. She finds herself in a position whether should she go to the cops or fuck them, and for a little while she goes fuck them. And that's all I'm going to say about that one, because other than that, it's a rural. You really get the sense of the countryside. It's shot in 4:3 aspect ratio, which is something I notice has been coming up a lot lately. More than one film is just like shot in this kind of more boxy TV shape instead of the big wide. I don't know if I love it, but it certainly gives it's different. It turns it into a different kind of experience for sure. You think about something like The Shining, right? You think about it as this grand cinematic panoramic film, but the aspect ratio on The Shining is not that much different from like just a 16:9 modern day TV screen. That's about what that movie shot on. It's not this big CinemaScope thing. So. And it really does make you think about that. Yeah, great film. Really enjoyed it. Let's do next. Prey.
Yeah, I skipped out on this one. I watched this one for a little bit with one of my buddies, and I couldn't get into it. But you liked it.
I liked it. I loved it, yeah. I liked it just for the effects, and I liked the story. It's the prequel to the Predator series. It's like what happens when what was Predator coming to planet Earth like 400 or 500 years ago, and yes, Predator was, and this is what that looked like at the time. Really good, powerful character, effects, music, the production. I'm a sucker for production too, so it's like I can see past bad production if the movie's really good, but I can also see past a bad movie if the production's really good. So this is not a bad movie by any stretch, but it's a good movie. I enjoyed it, but maybe not the top of the year. Right. Let's say that, and maybe not in line. Maybe not as good as the original Predator. Maybe better than
hard to beat
Predator
the original
versus the
Predator.
Squid Monster or whatever. They had
Jesse
to make
Ventura?
a Predator. I heard they had to make a Predator film like every 2 years or something as part of a contract for a while, I think is what I was hearing. And it didn't matter. It could be, Predator versus Captain Cook or Predator versus Predator versus the Bride of the Son of Godzilla.
Which is kind of how it went. Predator versus Alien and stuff like that. It got too much after a while. Yeah, they lost the plot.
This keeps it back on track. I will say that about this movie. This does tie much, much closer to what the original with Schwarzenegger is all about. So for that, I will give it a thumbs up. Resurrection. You got me onto this one.
Yeah,
I
like
did
this
just watch it. What do you think?
It was, it's not a horror movie in the traditional sense. It's very eerie and creepy, and the ending leaves you asking a ton of questions. The basic premise is this lady who lives with her daughter has a moment where she's at a conference and bumps into somebody who turns out was her abuser many, many years ago. And he comes back into her life and he manages to weave her way back into her psyche. And even though you would think she by all means should just run away and not engage and, whatever she's got to do, she doesn't do it. She kind of gets pulled back into his snare. And the guy is played by Tim Roth, who, another character actor. He can do anything he wants. And on screen, he was just gripping. The Fangoria reviewers talked about the monologue that she gives in the middle of the movie where she's describing the abuse. And it's such a well-framed shot, high contrast. Basically, she's wearing a black blazer and a light-colored shirt.
She did it all in one take from what I heard. She did all that
so good. So good. And the girl that's in it, the one that plays her daughter, is amazing. There's really no other cast outside of the two of them, and it's really gripping. Very different kind of story, and the ending makes you go, I think I'm going to have to watch this again because I probably missed something. Definitely check this one out.
Definitely, this one is definitely top 5 material for me. I think, just based on the acting. Rebecca Hall's acting alone, I think, is just phenomenal. Like,
I would agree.
They don't make him like that anymore, kind of idea, right? Like I haven't seen acting like that in a long time. I know it happens, but that's just like, wow, that's different level. So I loved it for that. The ending made me feel like I got scared at the end. Actually, it wasn't like it's a happy ending, but is it? And then when you think about the possibilities of what may really be going on, you're like, oh fuck, yeah, so good. Saloum, did you get to this one?
Nope.
This one is I don't know if it's my number one. It's way up there though, because the soundtrack's fantastic. The cinematography, I think, is maybe some of the best of the year. Takes place in Africa. The plot is that there's a coup in a certain country. These guys make off with a whole bunch of gold, and they're leaving the country to get to somewhere else, but the plane breaks down, and they end up staying with at this place of one of the guys knows from before. It turns out that there's a whole history there. There's supernatural stuff that occurs. They find themselves up against more than just human forces, let's put it that way, and it ties into the end with the main character and his past and what happened at this place and how things are going to be set right versus maybe they'll never be set right. Soundtrack is mind-numbingly good. It's obviously it's African music. I've never heard anything like it before. The way that it's been woven together into a soundtrack sounds massive. Yeah, I just love it. I think they're speaking French throughout the whole film.
Oh wow!
I think it's like a collaboration with that. So it's all subtitles. It doesn't matter. Though. It's just like wow. Yeah, up there, one of the top for me. Scream, 2022. Did you do this one?
No, I didn't. I don't dig the Scream movies at all. Like I watched the first one, and I just don't get it. So, what did you think of it?
I like it. I like it because when the first Screams came out, I wasn't like all over them. It was only later that I started watching them and stuff, right? And I like the fact that they have, like Neve Campbell's and that Courtney Cox, like some of the original The original actors are in it, and then they're handing the roles off to what will be the new crew. Even though most of them don't survive it, it still has that kind of feel. So for that, I liked it. I try to be more open-minded about reboots, remakes, and that sort of thing. It's not just like this is not just like a remake of Scream, but it's worse. It's not that. It's a different story. It's a different episode in a continuing story. So on that level alone, I thought they did it really well. It does have all the attendant production with a budget and all that. So you're not going to waste any time by watching it. That's for sure. Yeah, just thumbs up on it.
Cool.
Not top 10 material even for me, but I did enjoy it. Sissy, on the other hand, I think this might be top 10 material.
Mm-hmm. This is great. Story of a girl who is, she's a wellness blogger or YouTuber, whatever you call it. And you can see that she's just kind of holding it together a little bit. There's something underneath, and we find out what it is when she reconnects with a childhood friend who, of course, would know her history. And she gets sucked up into a girls' weekend away, like a wedding, what do you call it? Not a bachelor party, but the girls' equivalent of a bachelor party. And they go to the woods, and one of her adversaries, a competing best friend character, happens to be there. So all of a sudden, a lot of the bullying and prodding and poking resurfaces, and she accidentally goes into revenge mode. And so some of the kills are great, and watching the character disassemble over time in this beautiful country setting is fantastic. Really, really great story. Very light. It's not a serious, it's not a big think piece or anything like that, but it's a lot of fun to watch. Characters were really well drawn, and the dialogue was awesome. The acting was great. Everything was good about this. So definitely check this one out.
Yeah, same. I enjoyed every minute of it. Didn't quite see which it could have gone in, like you're in the halfway point where it could go either way. And when it goes the way that it does end up going, you're so glad. It's so satisfying.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
On a lot of different levels, right? And you're a bad person for thinking that too, but it's making you enjoy it more. So for that, it's a ride. It took to definitely take you on a ride, which is, I think it's almost like a meta revenge film in a lot of ways, right? It's like, it takes what would be just a normal revenge film and just screws with your brain on it a bit. It's pretty wicked. Yeah, loved it. Smile.
Yeah, I saw this in the theaters. I thought it was good. It was well done. The ending gets a little weird, gets a little unraveled. I don't think they needed to go that way. I was interested in seeing where they were going with this thing, and it didn't go where I thought it would go. Lots of great scares, creepy, well acted, well done. Definitely check it out. Wouldn't put it maybe in my top 3. What about you?
Yeah, same. I see that it follows very much in the tradition of movies like It Follows, The Ring, this kind of idea of like a curse that can be passed on if you don't do a certain thing, and this is aspects of that. It's not totally predictable what happens in the end, right? It's not completely, but it's also not like, you're not thinking about it 2 weeks later either, right?
No, it's true.
It's satisfying, but so really well done. You're right, absolutely creepy, great music, great effects, a lot of it relies on the jump scares a lot. Sometimes I'll deduct a few points if they use that too often, because it does give me a bit of like, I like that a few times. I don't want the whole movie to be like that, because then I'll just turn down the sound and it'll piss me off, and I'll just like turn down the sound. Fuck it. All right, here we go. With put pause on it, because they only show the monster for like 3 frames, and you don't know what you saw, and then it's just like some guy with like a little bit of mascara smeared, and like that's all the effort they took. So that's why they could only show it for 3 frames. I'm not saying that this is that, but it's like I know these tricks, right? That get used, and this is not one. This is a good budget movie. It's well done. So it is on the list of best, right? We're not making a list of worst. Choose Your Die is the only one that I'm putting on there. Something in the Dirt. This one is a last minute edition. I saw it. I said I could have watched that. It's not that long. It's kind of found footagey, kind of documentary, fake documentary / found footage. I shouldn't like it. I normally don't like those kinds of films. This is just so well done. It's about 2 dudes. They find a an interesting phenomenon, and the guy moves into to the apartment, and the other guys have been living there forever. And then he moves into his new apartment, and they just find this phenomenon, these kind of strange. I don't know if they're physical or spiritual. There's a lot of theories about what it is, or did they just discover some kind of mathematical? And then they decide that they're going to make a documentary film about it. They start off, they're going to document it all. And then it turns into this idea they're going to make a film. And one of the guys going off on all these ideas about what is it, and starts talking about the Freemasons and shit by the end of the movie. And he's like, oh, it's crazy ideas of what this thing could be. The other guy's kind of more just like, no, it's just scientific. It's just mathematical. Like, really cool. Well done. I like where it goes. I think that this also this movie's dedicated to friends who make movies, and I could totally picture that. Just saying, yeah, let's just make a movie. What it's going to be about? Oh, let's make a movie about making a movie about a thing that nobody knows what it is. Oh, okay. And then they just go ahead and do it, right? Obviously with some help on the way. So yeah, I got that vibe from it, right? These are more experienced filmmakers than that, but that's the vibe I got from the movie and the way it made me feel. So definitely up there, not one of the worst, one of the best. So Studio 666.
I never got around to this. I was going to watch it, and then Taylor Hawkins died, and I'm like, yeah. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I'm ready to see that right now. I don't know why I feel that way. But what did you think of it?
So I got to see it before he died. I think, didn't I? Or did he die before it was released? I don't remember. I don't remember the order of events. Because as soon as it's the same here. As soon as I saw the poster, I'm thinking, oh fuck, Taylor Hawkins, and then I think about the Taylor Hawkins concert and stuff, and I actually have to go to efforts to remember the movie, which is it's well done. It's fun. It's a fun, lighthearted movie made by a band about a band. None of the guys in the band are really actors of any kind of, outstanding achievement or anything like that. So it plays the way you'd think. It's kind of funny. There's the relationships between them, which are probably resembling real life. Sure, the way they just relate to each other anyway.
I always said, you and I should make a horror movie. So to me, this feels like the kind of thing I'd want to watch, because it's about a bunch of guys who are musically connected at the hip to decide, you know what, let's make a horror movie. So they did. I think that's awesome once you have the resources to do that. So I think for no other reason, I would probably love this film.
It's a fun film. You should definitely check it out. They don't hold back on the jokes. They you definitely get their real life personalities. And then, of course, there's Evil Dave. When Dave starts going evil, it's pretty trippy, the shit that he starts doing. Not to give too much away, but I mean, it's a pretty thin plot on this one, right? So I think it borrowed a little bit from, say, Evil Dead. Maybe they find in the basement, they find these old master tapes, and that there used to be this band. And I don't want to give way too much away, but yeah, fucking cool though. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Not looking for Francis Ford Coppola on this one though. No. Yeah.
But Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. Yeah. I mean, same. Yeah. Dave Grohl was in that.
I liked it better than Phantom of the Paradise, and people are probably mad at me for saying that.
But Dave played Satan in Tenacious D and did a great job in it. It was all hack stuff, like it's stupid storyline, but just a ton of fun. So I suspect the same thing. Well, yeah. So no, it's okay. Go ahead to Texas Chainsaw. TCM, let's do it.
TCM, a remake, reboot again. I like this. This might be my favorite out of all the reboots, including like the Scream, the Hellraiser, the
Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the best of all the remakes. It's completely sick. It's more blood and guts than you could ever hope for, but all of it really well done. And that's what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is all about to me.
That's what it's all about.
Clever ways of dismembering people.
Yeah.
It's got plenty of that. It's like pretty much nonstop. So it's fucking awesome. They do take a little bit of time to try to make a little bit of a plot. Like there's some characters. There's other stuff that happens beside the killing, but it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. So.
We all came for one thing. Oh, okay. Terrifier 2. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I had seen the first one, and I liked it well enough. I thought it was good. And then this came out, and people were saying, oh, yeah, there's this movie that people are throwing up and passing out in the theaters. And I'm like, what's the movie? And they're like, Terrifier 2. And I'm like, oh, my God, what did they do? Like, how did they make the last one even better? And I watched, I'm not sure I like this one better, but the gore off the charts. Like, you have to watch it just to see what's the latest and greatest in practical effects, like non-CGI, good old-fashioned blood bags and prosthetics and, exploding heads and stuff. You have to watch this. It's that good.
This might be the best gore of the year. There's only one other film I can think of that comes close. That's also good. We'll be getting to, but just to see. Well, I don't want to talk about what they did to people, because then you just have to see it for yourself. I didn't know it was possible to make that effect. Is that what? Well, the first one they saw someone in half, right? Like lengthwise, or like. So yeah, they. Did they top it on this one, do you think?
I think they went over the top. I'm not sure the effects were more convincing or more visceral, but it was like the little girl in the laundromat scene, even that was like, what did they just do? That's hilarious. So you have to, it's probably on streaming by now. Just give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. It's just this clown that just goes around and it just goes around killing people. That's pretty much like... That's the plot.
That's it. So yeah,
it's fucking wicked.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no bones to made about it. They're not talking about any kind of long Homer's Odyssey quest to go back to the beginning and why did the clown end up the way it's just no. It's like, here you go. Here's like an hour and a half of just some of the most brutal violence that is allowed in mainstream film. The Cursed. This is a gothic in the English kind of classic sense of the word, horror movie. Also rural, takes place in, I believe, the turn of the century, the 1800s. Slayed upon the estate and indeed the whole county, apparently. And this is the story of them discovering what happens when you've done wrong. I love it. I probably gave it a little bit too much away there, but there's still plenty that happens in this. Really, really, really well done. Nothing else to say. That's a great one. Hatching is another one that I watched day before yesterday. So this one's fun. This one's got some cool, great practical effects because of what hatches and how it starts and then how it evolves, and it goes through various different forms throughout the film, let's say. And all of a sudden I'm like, how do you do that? And I don't think it was digitally done. I think it's all it's either practical effects or some kind of combination of practical and CGI, because I just can't see how they would do it otherwise. So well done. It's a Finnish film. I think it's from Finland. They're speaking. There's subtitles and stuff. Not the longest film. Really, the atmosphere they talk about here. Yeah, that's great atmosphere throughout the whole film. I hardly enjoyed this one. Mm-hmm. The Innocents. Okay, here's one of those ones that actually was done in 2021, but it didn't. It was only in the festivals. 2022 is the list that it kind of officially gets on when everybody gets to see it. I don't know if you've seen this one.
No, I didn't see this one.
Got the kids with psychic abilities, and we'll leave it at that. Kids with psychic abilities, one of them is obviously fucking insane and psychopathic, even at an early age, and that's the source of a lot of the horrible things that happen in the film, but which keep getting worse and worse, and it doesn't really even end up happy in the end. It's just like you just sense that this is going to go on and on and on and on as they get older. Like, what's going to happen? So, yeah, worth watching. Really, really, really good cinematography and music and atmosphere and vibe. It reminded me of what it was like to be like 8 years old and hanging out on the playground or sneaking off into the woods after school and like throwing rocks at each other or whatever it was, and totally reminded me of that feeling of being a kid. But what if you were a kid and also this other shit happened? So you definitely get it from it seems the main focal point of the movie, it seems to be shot from a child's perspective, and I think if that's what they were trying to get across, then they really captured it on this film. Really, a lot to think about too, and some pretty cool gore and stuff. Master. Okay, not my favorite of the year, but not a bad film by any stretch. I don't know if you saw this one. Supernatural / thriller, haunted. Let's say it's a haunted campus. Maybe is one. She's a teacher, or she becomes the dean of this like residence at a campus, and discovers a lot of the history of what happened at the campus. And then there's this other character who starts seeing things, and then it flashes back to like the 1500s, and there's witches and stuff, witch burnings and shit, and sort of ties in a lot of aspects about, I would say, insiders and outsiders, and how the school is all about the insiders, and like people from the outside don't get treated very well. Not now, never did, never will, was the message you get at the end. And so I think they handle that territory extremely well. There's a lot of good effects and scares, creepy atmosphere. There's a feeling of dread that comes over the whole film. So for that alone, I would say it's definitely worth checking out. Oh my God.
Yeah, this has got to be one of the best, man. Ridiculously good effects. Start there, and great suspense, and it just, you keep chugging and chugging and chugging and moving along and wondering in some cases, how is this going to end? And you have to see this one. So this one, highly regarded by just about everyone who loves horror movies. Make sure you watch The Sadness. If you only watch one this year, this has got to be the one.
And if you're saying, oh, this just looks like a kind of a, zombie movie or something, it's like, well, if you hate zombie movies, you're still going to love this film. There's nothing not to love about it's everyone's genre. I think because it's just some of the stuff is so depraved. And you go like, what the oh my God. You don't see that in, you really get the sense that people
Super
have, great acting, great characters. This old guy is excuse me, I'm pumped. This old guy is crazy in the movie. It's just totally fearful character, but at the same time, there's a certain amount of humor around him as well. So there's strangely a lightheartedness to this film. They know that they know that there's so much transgression, and so just over the top violence with it. They're having fun. Like I was laughing through some of this.
Me too. Slipping around in blood, really like gory. Just great.
Yeah,
just great.
Yeah, amazing film. This might be on the top. We'll just do our tops at the end. The Stranger is not really a horror. It's more of a psychological thriller. I put it on there though because it's just so creepy. Joel Edgerton and Sean Harris. Sean Harris's character is like the creepiest performance I think I've seen in film probably in decades. Like decades. The character he plays is so dark and so disturbed. And it's just the expression on his face. He doesn't even need to say anything, right? Yeah, definitely worth watching just to see. It's a masterclass in how to act like a creepy ass motherfucker. Troll. This just got added to Netflix December 1st. This is a fun film. Basically, what comes on the box is what you get. But it's not unlike, there's the movie Troll 2, which was, they made a documentary about the worst film ever made, and this has nothing to do with that, right? But this is an actual budget film, really well done, really well produced and acted and everything. It's got all the effects that you can imagine, and it's literally about, they discover a troll. They're trying to blow up a mountain to build a tunnel, and they awaken this troll. And the great part, at the beginning of the film, nobody wants to admit it's a troll. It can't be a troll. That's a fairy tale. Well, there's some footprints over there. Here's some pictures. Yeah, but it's not a troll. Yeah, I don't want to give... Well, there's not much to give away. It's sort of like a Godzilla King Kong film in a lot of ways, where they're just trying to control this thing. There's a few people that think they can communicate with it as well, so there's a whole department of efforts on that front as well that runs parallel. Pretty cool. I won't give it all away, but nice light watch. VHS 99. Okay, I said I don't really dig the found footage stuff, but I might make an exception for this one just because they have a really good sense of humor. They like being ridiculous, and they know that they know that this probably isn't going to scare that many people. Some people, I guess, get scared by this stuff, but they cater to the people that know that they won't. That they're just going to say, "Oh yeah, that's a pretty sick idea, right?" Like that's, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" And then they know also that you're going to rewind it and pause it to try and look and see what they just showed you there. So the fact that they at least to me, they were alluding to that throughout the whole film, right? It's like I felt like there was a relationship between the directors and the viewer, and I think like the previous versions, they do have someone directing a different person directing each segment. Right? It's like 5 or 6 stories in here with a whole bunch of middle stuff that's really goofy. So really liked it, and that we should be near the end. Wednesday, okay. Well, reason this is being added is because everybody on the planet is talking about this particular TV series on Netflix. Addams Family spinoff about the daughter goes to boarding school. So well done. The best production you're going to find anywhere. The Danny Elfman soundtrack, immaculately scripted and acted, and it's either going to be your thing or it isn't. You know, I mean, I don't even know if it's a PG-13. It's like it might be G. Like I called. Like my niece and nephew are like have watched the whole thing like 3 times through, right? And they're still in grade school, so it's fun for the whole family. And what's there to say? So well done. They'll probably make another season. I don't imagine they won't, because
I would imagine
by the looks, it's just super hot, super popular right now. Oh, did you watch this, dude? What Josiah saw? Josiah?
No, I didn't see this one yet.
This is officially the feel bad movie of the year.
Should be a category.
It's a Southern Gothic, and you don't see too many of those these days, but it's Southern Gothic in the traditional sense where pretty much everyone's an asshole. You wouldn't want to spend any time with any of these people if you could avoid it, right? It's this family. They're all brought back together after a long period of being apart, and throughout this movie, we start to see why these were spending all that time apart.
Nice.
And different takes on what actually happened, whose fault it was, and where things are at right now. So creepy. Oh my God, this is so creepy. It's psychological, but it is also horror, but it's psychological. The title itself, when you watch the whole movie and then you go, yeah, what the hell did Josiah see? And because they'd never really tell you what he saw. That sort of kept a mystery, right? And what was it? I don't want to give too much away. So fucking good. Robert Patrick's amazing in it. He plays the crazy father, and not that many characters. It's just and not that many locations. It's just this old farmhouse. Yeah, it's just nuts. That's gonna stick with me. I would say it's a close second in sticking with somebody as like the last scene in Wounded Fawn. Mm-hmm. But for totally different reasons. It's not particularly graphic or violent. It's not. It's the psychology and the fact that it brings up like generational trauma and abuse and like there's some heavy themes in here, but that adds to the gloom and the depression. And it's good times. We're all going to the World's Fair. Have you seen this one?
No.
Kind of found footage format, coming of age. There's this girl. There's not too many characters. Probably like 3 or 4 characters in the whole film. Plays a game online called the World's Fair. It's like the World's Fair Challenge. And you're supposed to do certain things, and then certain things will happen to you. And yeah, I don't want to give it away. It's pretty much psychological more than anything, this one. But does make it onto top 10 horror lists and stuff. So I figured I'd include it. I enjoyed it. I didn't. I don't love it. I think it's like it's getting at something though that I want to see the next film by the directors and see what happens, because I think it's onto something very important and very good. But I did find it kind of slow moving, and I found it was like the ending's kind of nebulous, and then not really. I don't know. I put it on here because I think it's an important film for a lot of reasons. That it is hinting at where film could go, and it's almost hard to describe why, because when I say found footage, it's not like Blair Witch with people screaming and everything. Maybe it's closer to like you told me about that movie The Host or something. Maybe it's closer to that. I've never seen that one, but it's somewhat internet based, right? And based around a life online, but not completely. It goes into the real world, and real shit happens too. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll warm up to it. Maybe I should see it again. It's hard to, though. You sandwich something like this in between, like, you know, the Sadness and Terrifier. It's totally different. Like, you're just like, nothing's happening, right? So that's, I think it's just because of the mood. X, okay, this is by Ty West.
So good. Ty West is amazing, and I thought the performances, like the lead character is the dude from Virgin River, so it's a complete departure for him. This isn't really a slasher kind of film. It's just very suspenseful. But it was also beautifully done. There's a moment where two of the actors are singing a Fleetwood Mac song on a guitar, you know, an acoustic guitar, and they're just kind of playing through it. And it's like a heavy moment, or just a really cool connected moment before everything unravels really quickly. The gore is awesome, although there isn't a ton of it. There's a sort of a body horror thing going on around aging people and their identity and how that causes some of the pain that they're having that creates the whole event in the first place, to a really good gator swallowing. Like, there's everything that you need is in this movie. Super well done.
Super well done. It has Jenna Ortega, who I think is also Wednesday.
She's great.
Right?
Yep.
I think she did this film before. Yeah, everybody's awesome in this one. The premise is like they rent out this farmhouse. They're going there to make pornos, but really I think that's just kind of neither here nor there. They could be doing anything really. It's a reason to get them into this farmhouse where I don't know. Let's just say the owners aren't exactly great to hang around with for any length of time. We'll leave it at that, right? If I could,
strange, great characterizations, great acting, and it's different. Yeah. It's a different premise. It's not, you know, like get them into a cabin, Texas Chainsaw Massacre style. No. Completely different, and you won't be sorry that you watched this. So another great one this year.
It's and it's like when you start to get a sense of like why the killings are happening, and you realize, oh, this is really fucking deranged. This is like there's a opposite to Texas Chainsaw or something like the Wrong Turn series, where it's just like the crazy guy on going, just like he's sawing off your head because it's funny and he enjoys it. Right? Yeah, it's like when you get to the motivations of why the killings in this movie happen, that's when you go, oh, whoa, that's just really sick, and it's kind of sad actually too. But so that made me think that the reflection on aging and stuff, especially that you just mentioned there, that definitely stuck with me about this film as well. And plus it's awesome. The gator scene is fucking great. The way they handled the gators, love it. Okay, You Won't Be Alone. I believe this is a Macedonian rural horror / folk horror movie. It deals with demons and witches and the dawn of ages and the different generations, and it's fucking scary. And it does have, this one also has those themes of aging and the body horror going on. That's in a couple of these good films this year. Yeah. Body horror. Yeah, really well done. This also was one of Kirk Hammett's favorite movies.
Right. So. Seems he has good taste.
Yeah, he had this. He had the Gatlopp. He had a whole other list, but none of them were aside from those two were from 2022. So
right.
Is that we've done it?
Wow.
All those
pretty
films.
Cool. So let's really quickly. Why don't we pick our top 3 or 5? Should we do that? I would go with these. Won't be in any particular order. X is on my list for certain. That was excellent. I watched it twice. It was so good. I would put Hellbenders is on my list as well. So is Sissy, Terrifier 2, and my number 1, I think because I have to watch it again, it was so gripping, has got to be The Resurrection. What about you?
Those are some good picks. I have a lot of overlap with you there. And once you started started listing those, okay, I can't do it with just 5. I think it should be like a top 10 or something. But Hellbender, I think, is great. You got to put the sadness like way near the top because that's just so
I forgot
good.
about the sadness. Yeah, so that's probably my number 2 position.
Wounded Fawn is awesome. I also too like Piggy as one of the tops. Terrifier 2, just based on the guts, blood and guts alone. What Josiah Saw, holy shit, that's got to be near the top. Cabinet of Curiosities for TV series. Oh my god, that's so well done. You know, I'm looking at this list and I'm like, there isn't. I know it may have sounded like I was being negative about some of these, but these are all good films, right? With the exception of
so what are your 5?
My 5 will be The Sadness, What Josiah Saw, Cabinet of Curiosities, Resurrection, and let's shake it up, Sissy.
Good one. It's a good choice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
we'll go back. Maybe we'll list them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a bunch here that I didn't even watch that you saw that I'm sure my list would change once I dug into them. But this was good. We got through a lot of movies. I hope you guys have a chance to watch some of these and enjoy them. I think the fact that our lists overlap is probably a sign that there's a couple that were really special this year. So check it out.
Yeah.
We'll keep trying to bring you some reviews into the next year and maybe do another top 10 list at the end of 2023.
Yeah. I mean, it depends what you want, right? I guess we could have said, okay, you know, creepiest film is blah, blah, blah. The goriest film is blah, 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 right? You know, the goriest film would be like Terrifier 2 or The Sadness, right? Creepiest films would be like What Josiah Saw, maybe, what else is really creepy? I don't know. You know what I'm getting at.
I do what you mean. Yeah.
Not
but I think what we really did is say, of all these are the ones that are probably most worth watching, like a good safe bet, because they were well respected, well regarded, and we both agreed that they were in the top 5. So can't go wrong with those picks.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to put Saloum in my top 5 because that one's so good too.
That's right.
See,
it's hard.
Yeah.
Hard to pick 5. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
All right, guys. Shall we call it a wrap? Shall we say happy holidays, Merry Christmas?
Absolutely.
Whatever it is you celebrate,
Happy
however
holidays.
you celebrate. I hope you have a great one. Stay safe. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in 2023. And until then, keep checking out the Mixercist. Keep making great music. Keep watching horror movies. Thank you for all your support this year. And we'll see you in 2023.